G'day guys, Jase here, and I'm stoked that you've decided to download this video and come to this page, because for me, this Gut to Gains web coaching is all about just trying to give you some advice, some simple advice that's going to help you to be able to make some changes. And I don't know, I just feel like this space has become somewhat unnecessarily complicated over the last few years, last decade. And it's because people are trying to sell you stuff like supplements. I mean, the supplement industry is in itself it's a hugely multi-billion-dollar industry. And obviously nothing happens without stuff being sold. So the idea of this presentation is to be able to give you some really simple advice. In fact, it's titled My Secret 3-piece formula that gets a minimum 8 kilos of fat off in 3 months. Minimum 8 kilos of fat off. Now, you steal this immediately in this class, so lucky for you. So, guys, I just want to start by telling you this is not some, get thin quick scheme or video. Here, we're really aiming to give you 3 key takeaways that you can go and implement immediately that will get you results. But it doesn't come without any hard work. So just bear that in mind. So I wanted to put this slide in because it's a fat loss disclaimer. First, you just need to be honest with yourself. You need to ask yourself, am I actually serious? Because what I've discovered from coaching hundreds of men over the last decade is that it's only the guys who go from I should do this to I must do this that actually get changes. So I want to ask you, man, is it at the point where you're in the must do category? You've got to look in the mirror and you've got to think about your future and all of the things that involves. Your kids, your family, your own personal health, your ability to enjoy life. And a lot of us will sit here and say, I'd really want a 6-pack. And that's all very well and good. And I really do think that you do need to be mindful of the Instagram models that you're following and unfollow them. And instead, look at the stuff that I'm putting out. It's productive. It's stuff that works in your mind. So rather than starting with, I want a 6-pack, what about seeing your dick? Look down right now, guys. Check. Have you got a belly that's in the way? And if you have, that's an issue. And importantly here in red, we're talking about permanent fixes, not yo-yo diets where you go on this shake and then you would lose 10 kilos and then you put it all back on. So am I correct in thinking that you've been on some sort of diet in the past year? Because most people in this space have. You're confused about a start point. You've just got no idea where to start, and motivation is lacking. And this makes you frustrated and embarrassed, and you feel guilty particularly to your kids because you're meant to be their role model. So you're wondering, am I going to be one of those guys cruising around in a scooter just because I'm too heavy? Is that going to be me? And I'm guessing, are you thinking these things? In order to change, to evolve, it's going to be expensive. These are the beliefs. It's going to be expensive. You're going to have to starve yourself. I don't have time to do this. Man, I've got 3 kids. I've got a high pressure job. I commute every day back and forth. I don't have time. I'm unmotivated. I just don't back myself. And you know what? I hate cardio. These are some of the beliefs that we have in this space. And I'm going to help you to crush those beliefs in this session here. So my goal of this coaching, this is my goal, to convince you that it's possible for you to reach a point where you'll never, ever need another diet. And guess what? You can still drink beer. I love a beer. You should love a beer as well if that's your flavor, and you don't have to give that up. So at this point, guys, I need to say that the class is going to go for about an hour and your focus is required. I mean, you came here, you went through the process of submission and you want to be part of this because you want to change. So pause this video now if you need to deal with things like shut the door, turn your phone off, do whatever you need to do. You can't be half doing this. And I know that's a cliche, but I'm going to share with you some really important stuff here, and I need your focus. So if for the moment you're going to be interrupted in half an hour for dinner, what you're better to do is pause the video and come back to it. In fact, if you need to, do what I've done, make yourself a coffee, go get a coffee, because let's bunk in for the long run, guys. We're going to be here, and I'm going to give you my absolute best. If I can give you value, then that makes me happy, because I can start to spread my influence around the world. And why should you listen to this bloke? Oh my God, look at that haircut. Is it because, I've got all the certificates? Is that important? Yeah, okay, so I'm a dietitian by trade. I'm a personal trainer. I've been featured on a number of websites. But is that the reason that you should listen? No. It's because the results that we've achieved here speak for themselves. And you can check out these. A knowledgeable coach, practice what he preaches, awesome results, helped me lose 6 kilos, absolute legend. I don't know about that, but you get the point. So you can simply go to my Facebook page and check it all out. But I want to share with you some transformations to get us started here, because I tell you what, these transformations for me really do, they do take out all the noise, right? You look at the guy on the left and then the right, and you see the different person that they've become. And this is one of my favorites. This is a mate of mine named Josh, who joined the program about a year ago. And you're going to hear from him a little bit later, actually, and look at the change. I mean, this is immense. Look at the hang on the belly. On the right-hand photo, he doesn't even have any hang. I mean, this is immense. If you are, 120 kilos and you're sitting at home on your couch or sitting at home watching this video and just thinking, oh man, this is going to be so hard. Do you know what? I can put you in contact with this guy, and with working with us, we can basically change this, but you don't need to. I'm going to share these 3 things with you right now. And what about shame? I mean, a lot of guys, they're already, I guess, have some muscle underneath there. And it's about, for them, it's about trying to get a bit more tone. We'll check out that. That is an 8-week transformation. How good is that? Look at the development in the pecs. He's got the sag around the belly is all of a sudden turned tight. It's immense. Check out Kane. I mean, this is bloody fantastic. Now, Kane's dad died at 50 years old, right? So he's got 2 young kids, a girl and a boy, a lovely wife, a beautiful wife. And guess what? He wants to be around for those kids, as I'm sure that you do. Check out the difference that these changes made for him. When he's heeded the advice that we've given him, it's crazy what happens. And what about Adam? I mean, Adam's one of my favorites. He's a little bit younger, but the guy on the left-hand side was a motivated guy that had no zest for life. The guy on the right-hand side, well, look, check him out now. Running 10K fun runs and feeling absolutely brilliant. I mean, it's stark contrast, right? And this has come off the back of being given the right tools. See, this is the key. You can follow these diets all you want, but the problem is that eventually the diet's going to become boring, and then you're going to be left with no tools. How do you build your future out of that? So what I'm going to do here is give you a few tools to work by. And what about James? I mean, James was 184 kilos, if I'm not mistaken, 184 kilos, boy on the left-hand side here, and he's only a young lad. And on the right-hand side, well, look, we've got a dapper young gentleman that's cut the gut, and have a look at him now. In fact, I want to just put a quick video up to give you a bit of an idea of just how much he feels like he's changed.
Hi guys, my name's James, and I joined Cut the Gut around about a year ago. I didn't want to become another statistic of someone dying of a heart disease or having a stroke or, getting diabetes. So I messaged Jason, who got me on board, took me straight under his wing, got me on the program, and a year on, I've went from a 3XL down to an XL, and I've also went from a 44 in jeans down to a 36, something which this time last year never thought would be possible. So if you're feeling like you want to shrink down or you want to lose a bit of weight or, you just want to get healthier in general, 100% give Jason a shout. If you could turn me into a guy that likes going to the gym, he could do it to absolutely anyone. So yeah, 100% give Jase a shout, join Cut the Gut, and I'll see you in the group.
What about that? I mean, stomaching the accent's one thing, but stomaching the fact that he's lost over 60 kilos is just like mind-blowing to me. And you know, it's not about losing the weight. It's about what that actually gives you. Now, check out these, some of the points put up. Look at Adzi on the left-hand side there. He's got a gap in his jeans. He's got to throw them out. Look at James there. His old work shirts don't fit anymore. What is the big deal about this? I mean, sure, I really do believe that the confidence and the quality of life is one big thing. But why should you be worried? Let's just go down this avenue. Why should you be worried? Well, look, the bloke on the left-hand side. So if we have a look at the image here, this is a what's called a cadaver, so obviously a past body. And if you have a look at the yellow tissues around the outside here and on the top here, this is actually fat. This is body fat, and this is the way it's actually stored. Now, what is the issue with having body fat? Well, unfortunately for us as men, when we have body fat that's positioned around our belly, like how men store it, guess what? It squeezes the organs. On the left-hand side here, you have a healthy heart. On the right-hand side, you've got a heart of a person that's overweight. That might be you. And you need to be concerned about this, because all this extra fat that is squeezing your vital organs, this is the reason why men die early. This is the reason why we, at every age range, have a lower life expectancy than women, is because we've got this fat positioned, instead of our bums, it's around our fat organs, and it's squeezing those organs, and that pressure creates issues. So that's why it's important. That's why it's a big deal. So let me ask you a question. What current pain is your health causing you? Have a think about that. I mean, like literally, what current pain? Is it embarrassment? Is it back pain? Is it leg pain? Your knees, your ankles, your crappily energy at work? Like, what is it? Go deep into it. Feel that. What pain is it causing you guys? And now, look into the future. I mean, are you happy for that to be your future? Are you happy for that to be the example that you set your kids, who will take on your example and will become this self-fulfilling prophecy that just continues year after year after year? Or do you want to change it? You know, I get this comment occasionally that says, Jase, you wouldn't understand. You've never been fat. Well, I think fat really is that's a definition which is quite hard to understand. And it's certainly a personal thing. And if I have a look at that photo on the left-hand side here, it was taken a couple of years ago. You know, this is where body ties in with mentality and psychology. I hate that photo. I hate that photo because it makes me feel fat. I don't like I was relaxed on holidays, which was cool, gives me good memories, but I don't feel athletic and I don't feel fit. And I'm bringing this up because I want you to know that I understand how it feels to have your confidence, your motivation, your self-worth, your energy and libido. I mean, the concept of being around your partner and taking your shirt off or wanting to hide yourself, I understand that. And so when our health sucks, why don't we act? I mean, think about that. Why don't we act? We all really know what we need to do in terms of the direction that we need to go, right? But why don't we act? Why do we put our head in the sand? Well, it's very simple. There's a fear of failure here. And think about it. If you want to change where you are right now, there's a level of risk involved, isn't there? There's the challenge that you might act and fail, particularly if you've acted and failed before. So again, I want to show that really this only comes out of getting outside of your comfort zone. In fact, when I started in this space, I was a complete failure. In fact, I started going out to my work in health with men, going out to mining companies. And what would happen is I'd go out to these mining companies and I'd run health education programs. And they were really good. We got an average of 8 to 10 kilos off guys over a 6 to 8 week period. So highly efficient. But at the start, I was a complete flop. I went in there dressed in my collared shirt. And I remember one day sitting with a bunch of about 20 guys that had just come off the back of a 10-hour mining shift. And one of them just stands up, puts his arm up and says, "Man, will you just shut the fuck up?" And I was like, "Oh," he said, "We're getting paid overtime for the hour to be here. And that's the only reason that we're here." So here's this like new grad dietitian from uni, coming out and getting ready to take on the world. But I was a failure. And it's only through getting out of my comfort zone repeated times that I've been able to get to a point where I start to break that failure. So let's look at you. I'm guessing that fear of failure is keeping you shackled. It's keeping you in a zone which you don't like to be in, which you probably recognize, but you want to change. But it feels like you're just shackled to fear. And I get this. So I'm going to show you in here the exact technique that I learned to conquer my greatest fear around 2 months ago, which is to skydive. I mean, this fear for me was just mind-blowing. It was like the concept of, it took me 2 years of trying to conquer my own mind to conquer this fear. But I did it, and no one believed that I did it. And so I've got this photo here as a recommendation, a reminder that I can help you get to this point. So let's get into it. I'm also going to share with you the technique that I used to quite recently just shred 8 kilos of fat in 10 weeks. Have a look at the photo on the left and then the photo on the right, and it's clear. And this is a technique that I'm going to teach you in this class. So take a moment now, guys, and really take a moment to daydream and just have a think about, despite the fact that you are not where you want to be right now, where could you possibly go? How would your life feel if all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, if in, let's say, 6, 12, 24 months time, you're on the path to being a healthy guy. You'd cut maybe 5 or 10 kilos off. You're feeling more energetic. You go in and you make love to your partner and you actually feel awesome. How would that change your current life? But here's the point. It's not your fault. You're not the failure. See, a lot of people blame themselves. You are not the failure. It's just that you were in the wrong vehicle, the wrong tool of change. But you've taken step one, and I urge you to stay with me on this course of this video, because I'm going to give you some techniques to help you change that. You're going to have a realization that you can do this. It's a proven strategy, and you can start now, right after this free coaching. We're going to take your beliefs that don't have time, they're expensive, I'm unmotivated, and we're going to smash them. So let's get stuck into the coaching, guys. The 3 secrets of fat loss. I am going to share with you secret number 1, your fat mind. How to set your autopilot to a new destination, starting now. We're going to talk about secret 2 and why endless cardio is just dumb. I'm going to give you a technique for how to set your metabolic rate on fire in less than 4 hours per week. 4 hours per week out of a 168-hour week. Does that sound like good bang for buck? Great. And I'm going to give you secret 3, my number 1 food hack, and how to optimize fat burning. Guess what? With 0 effort. How good's that? So let's start with secret number 1, your fat mind. How to set your autopilot to a new destination starting now. Look, if I asked you guys this question, why have you put on weight? Let me ask you that question. Why have you put on weight? What would your answer be? I'm guessing it's going to be that you eat poorly. I love food too much. I eat too much. I eat the wrong food. Drink too much. What is it? Is it, hey, is this it? I'm on the couch watching sport, crushing beer. That's the reason why I'm fat. Well, is it that I'm lazy? I'm addicted. I'm unmotivated. I'm weak-minded. All of these beliefs that you've given yourself as to the reasons why you're fat. And they make sense, right? I'm going to give you the real reason. And this slide is a little bit of a cue, because I can tell you straight away, all of those things that you've thought for the whole time were the reason that you're fat are not the reason that you're fat. They're not the reason that you're fat. Diets do not work. So simply changing your diet without changing this little secret that I'm going to tell you about in a moment is not going to do anything. So let me start by asking you this question. What role does an autopilot play in a plane? What role does it play? Have a think about that. So an autopilot is obviously a tool or an instrument that makes sure that a plane leaving, say, Sydney and aiming to travel to New York actually gets to New York 100% of the time, right? You with me on this? So here's our plane taking off from Sydney, heading en route to New York. And on that route, that plane's autopilot makes little adjustments along the way. Did you know that on a course from Sydney to New York, that plane will be off course for 97% of the time? But how is it that the plane always ends up in New York as programmed? Well, of course, that is because of the autopilot. Now, an autopilot is what's known as a cybernetic mechanism. I don't want you to get too confused about this term, because the first time I heard this secret, I heard this term, I got hung up on this word and trying to understand it. When I say cybernetic mechanism, you're going to think autopilot. So the job of the cybernetic mechanism is to do this. It decides how far that plane is off course, and then it does that by sampling the surrounding environment and then correcting the course back into the plane's computer, right? Another example of a cybernetic mechanism is a thermostat. So let's just take an example from home whereby you've got the air conditioner on, and the air conditioner is set, as you can see here, to 25 degrees. Your partner comes up, she's off or he's off to do the shopping and gives you a kiss and heads out the door. 10 minutes later, all of a sudden you notice that there's a draft at your feet. You're feeling cold while you're watching TV. Like, what's going on? You get up and you notice that the door is open. And so what happens is the thermostat in your air conditioner is trying desperately to ensure that the 25 degrees that you have set that air temperature at to be at for that room is being achieved. So it pumps out more hot air to try to establish that equilibrium. Do you understand this concept of what a cybernetic mechanism is? It measures how far you or your instrument is off course and then makes changes to make sure that you always get to your set goal. That's what a cybernetic mechanism is. Did you know that you have an autopilot built into you from birth? And it develops right through your infancy and into your young adulthood to a point where you don't even know it exists, yet it's controlling everything you do. You have a cybernetic mechanism, and that is your self-image. So let me show you how the cybernetic mechanism works in a human. I'm betting you're going to love this. You're really going to recognize this, and you're going to feel like, yep, okay, I get this, Jase. I understand how this works. So you decide to go on a health kick. I'm going to go on a diet, you proclaim to yourself, and you proclaim to any one of your friends that wants to listen. So you go about your diet. You stop eating food and you might go on to the shakes. Maybe you start doing some cardio. And guess what? You start to lose weight. How good is that? You're starting to lose weight. You're feeling good, you're feeling confident, and you're 2 or 3 weeks in. You're online to your your new destination. So you've created this idea that you can go somewhere completely different. But what happens is that your autopilot, your cybernetic mechanism eventually kicks in, right? And what does it tell you? Come on, Jase. Who are you kidding, mate? You're a fat guy. Why don't you just have some chocolate? Hey, you deserve it, man. You've been working hard, and this week's been particularly stressful, right? Or you're on the road and it's like, I haven't eaten, so I'm so hungry, so I'll just dip into Macca's and that should be fine. And then before you know it, your autopilot has kicked in and it set you back onto this destination that you always end up back. And you're sitting here thinking, how the hell was it that I took off like a frog in a sock and I was killing and I was losing weight, but all of a sudden you've put it all back on? This is to do with your autopilot or your cybernetic mechanism kicking in. It is your self-image, guys. And that's why all change in diet and exercise, unless it's accompanied by changing your self-image and your mindset, will always result in you putting the weight back on. And I've seen it countless times with clients that have not understood this. Fat loss is 90% emotional and mental. It's only 10% physical. It's 10% what you eat. It's 10%, how you exercise and how you sleep. But the other 90% is what's going on up here. If we do not get this right, what will happen is our cybernetic mechanism, our autopilot will kick back in and you'll end up back where you've always been. So the question is, where do you start? How do you change that? How do I change my self-image? Well, guess what? Buried deep inside our mind, we have a portion of our mind called the subconscious mind. This is the mind that is responsible for just operating in the background. It does all of these tasks that we don't even notice. And like a submerged ice cube, you basically see that 90% of it is below the surface. This is your conscious mind. Your conscious mind is the mind that you're consciously aware of, that you're thinking about all the time. It's like the iceberg analogy. The other 90% is happening by habit as part of a program. And that is controlling your everyday activities without you even thinking. I mean, how often is it that you've left a destination in your car and ended up an hour away at your destination and thought, I don't even remember driving here? This is to do with the action of your subconscious mind. So your self-limiting beliefs, what is tied up in your subconscious mind, it's like it's an operating system. So you'd be familiar with Windows, okay? You also have an operating system. And your operating system is your collection of habits that basically gives rise to what you do every day. So the only way that we can ever get results for our life in terms of our health is to go back and run an antivirus on our operating system. We need to clear off the old operating system and replace it with a new operating system. Does this make sense? This way, when your cybernetic mechanism starts to kick in, it's only going to keep you on course to that new destination. Unless you do this process, unless you change your self-image, how you feel about yourself, how you talk to yourself, how you think to yourself, you will always remain in this constant loop of dieting because you haven't done the work to change the program. So how do we even change this program? I mean, realistically, does this sound complicated? It's actually very simple, but it comes from a long-term strategy, a long-term commitment. The first step is to be aware that this exists. Now, at the start of this class, you did not know anything. You'd never heard the word cybernetic mechanism. You probably thought it had something to do with a car if you'd heard it. But now you know. And just having the awareness of things, the more you increase your awareness of things, guess what? The more you are in control of your health, the more you have the tools to be able to change. And so the first step is just to become aware. And awareness of things and awareness of self. You'll, after this class, start to become aware of the cybernetic mechanism. And when you're on your next diet or you're at the gym, you'll hear yourself, your voice telling yourself, come on, man, just have a day off. Come on, man, you're tired. Come on, man, who you kidding? Why are you going to the gym? You're always going to look like this. You will now know that that's the cybernetic mechanism kicking in. The next step that you need to change is your language. Now, I want to give you one tool here. And this one tool has changed my life, really. And it's incredible. And I understand that for you, it's going to be awkward because you've never done it before. But I promised you that I'm going to give you some takeaways that you can go and do now after this program, okay, after this coaching session. And one of them is to start affirmations. So what are affirmations? Well, affirmations are direct instructions by you with your voice to your subconscious mind. Through the process of repetition, it's like a stamp that we constantly beat down on the same mark, the same message every single day until that stamp eventually pushes through and makes its mark. Now, I've got two examples here. You've got Conor McGregor and Muhammad Ali, the great Muhammad Ali. When you think of these guys, what do you think of? You think about what they say, right? They're incredible at their sport, but what they did was hammered and prosecuted what is effectively an affirmation. I mean, here we go. Conor McGregor was well known to have really created the idea of being a world champion in his mind well before he ever became a world champion. He was telling everyone, I'm the world champion. I'm the world champion. I am the best. I am the best. And guess what? When you give such instruction to your subconscious mind, you eventually start to become that. Muhammad Ali, I am the greatest. I am the greatest. At a time, he was not the greatest, but through repetition, and in Muhammad Ali's words, it's the repetition of affirmations that leads to belief. Once belief becomes a deep conviction, things start to happen. And guys, this is why after you become aware of this concept, you now need to go after this session, start practicing these affirmations. Affirmations must be worded in the present tense, and they usually start with I am. So you might say to yourself 100 times a day in a very intentional fashion, I am a healthy weight person. I feel great. I feel awesome. I am so happy now that I have my healthy body back. Notice that they all start with I am. I am. I am so happy now that I have my healthy body back. I am now so happy that I am of a brilliant weight. You see, when we completely repeat these over and over again, we force our self-image to change, which changes our entire destination. So I use this tool to conquer my own fear. I promised with you that I would give you the exact technique that I used. I mean, I was debilitated by fear when it comes to skydiving. I cannot even tell you enough how much I was debilitated by this fear. I was the bag holder, right? All my friends and family would be up there doing their thing, and I was downstairs at the bottom of the roller coasters, holding the bags like a pussy. But then I realized this fear was holding me back in life. So what did I start to do? I used affirmations to completely change my mindset. I am a guy that loves skydiving. I love skydiving. I am the heights man. And for a period of probably 12 months, I repeated this to myself over and over and over again. I am the heights man. I love heights. I love heights. I love heights. I am a skydiver. I am a skydiver. I am a skydiver. And so what I would do is when I was driving to the office every morning at 5 o'clock, I would spend 10 minutes repeating this to myself over and over and over and over again. And guess what? Since then, I've chucked myself out of a plane and conquered this fear. And you too can do the exact same thing if you use this exact same technique. And I've since used it to do things like find a great partner who I deserve to have, to build this business, to find better health in my own body, to find more money and more security in my finances. I've used the same process of repetition using affirmations. You've got to understand that this is about setting habits. We've got the awareness. We now know that affirmations exist. We're now going to change step 2, our language. And then third, you've got to realize that the repetition is what puts this into your mind. With each repetition of this affirmation, guys, guess what happens? You lay down a new cable. This is why I've put this image here, because the brain, all the science now says that the brain can be rewired. We lay down a new cable. We lay down a new cable each time. And through each small win, we reinforce our self-belief. And this comes meaning that we change our self-image. Now, all of a sudden, one day when we decide to adopt an exercise program that is built the right way, we change our eating with the right tools. Guess what? We start to get results because our cybernetic mechanism now has been reset at a completely different level. Now it's healthy man instead of fat man. And that becomes you. You start to embody this. So that's secret number 1, guys. I want you to have a vision. I mean, this is something that I've done personally, and it's created a vision wall. And it might sound a bit cliche, but when you're looking at something all day and you're just seeing it, it starts to seep into your brain. So have a vision for what you look like. Have a vision for how you feel. Cut out some magazines, print off some stuff on the internet. Find some things. I attracted this lovely girl into my life from this exact procedure of affirmations of being clear about having a vision. All right. There's secret number 1 done, guys, and I really hope that helps. And the secret number 2 we're going to move on to, and that is that endless cardio is dumb. So I'm going to teach you now how to set your metabolic rate on fire in less than 4 hours a week. And I'm guessing that you think weight loss, I say weight loss, you think this. Oh, shit. It's going to be so much effort, right? Treadmill runs, cycling. Oh, God, I can't imagine doing anything worse. And then you start to ask yourself, I mean, what actually happened here? How did I go from being like a healthy dude to all of a sudden carrying around a gut? How did that happen? Well, let me tell you the reasons why. Firstly, I want to talk to you about what determines our fuel burn rate. So as a human, how much fuel I burn and how much fuel you burn is determined by these basic 4 things. The first one is our resting metabolic rate. Let's not get too worried about the terms and instead focus on what it actually means. So our resting metabolic rate is like our idle rate. If we just turned our car on in the morning and left it in neutral and just let it run all day, how much petrol would it require to keep that car going all day? Does that make sense? That's our resting metabolic rate. When people talk about they've got a high metabolism or a low metabolism, this is effectively what they're talking about, the rate at which they burn fuel. The next one is the digestion of food. Do you know that about 10% of our daily fuel requirement, our calorie requirement, is spent on actually burning the fuel? So it's actually quite an energy intensive process to actually burn fuel, burn food and digest it. Of course, on top of that, we add exercise and we add incidental activities. So for example, if you have a particularly sedentary job versus being out on the tools on a trade job, your incidental activity level is going to be much higher and your calorie burn going to be much higher than someone that sits at a desk for the majority of the day. So question, which of these two cars, a Mustang or a Yaris, would burn more fuel? Of course, you know the answer to that, right? And it's of course the Mustang. Why does the Mustang burn more fuel? Well, it's because it has a bigger engine and its fuel demand is higher. In fact, if we turn these two cars on, stuck them in neutral at the start of the day, which one would burn through its fuel at a greater rate? We know it's going to be the big beauty there in red, the red rocket. Look, muscle ain't just for good looks. Muscle is the largest determinant of your metabolic rate. If you've got a large amount of muscle, you would burn fuel at a much higher rate than someone that's largely quite skinny and lacks muscle tissue. The worry about this, guys, is that as we age, for each decade, we lose about 3 to 8% of our total muscle. What does that mean by the time you're 50, 60, 70? Your muscle has withered away, and the rate at which you burn muscle with a lower fuel tank, a lower engine capacity, guess what? Is lower. It all makes sense, right? Now you understand why you put on weight. As you got older, your muscle mass decreased, which sent your metabolism down. You've got a smaller car that's burning less fuel. Digestion of food probably remains about the same, but because of having a family and because of going to a work instead of when you're a teenager, you ran around everywhere and you're at school, all of a sudden your calorie burn from exercise and incidental activity has gone down as well. So digestion of foods remained about the same, but that's only 10%. In the three major categories, exercise, incidental activity, and your capacity to burn fuel even at rest, they've all gone down. But you've continued to eat the same amount, potentially more. And that is why you've put on weight. 2 kilos a year over a 10-year period leads to 20 kilos. And then you look down and you can't see your dick. But I thought cardio was how you lose weight. That's a common question. Well, let me ask, guys, what is it? When you say you lose weight, you want to lose weight, what is it that you're actually trying to achieve? My bet is that you're actually not weight loss you're after. It's fat loss you're after. And have a look at the difference between these two tissues. On the top, you've got 2 kilos of fat. On the bottom, you've got 2 kilos of muscle. You see, fat is a lot less dense than muscle. It's much bigger, and that's why it occupies so much space. Whereas muscle tissue is dense, and it requires a lot of blood supply and calories to burn. So if you're losing muscle, this is a bad thing because you're losing the type of tissue that is the one that's most likely to burn calories. What determines weight loss or gain? Really, guys, this has been overcomplicated. And then it really annoys me because I see all these different things out there that try to argue different points. It is as simple as this. What determines weight loss or weight gain? If your calories over a week, a month, a year are generally the same as the calories that you burnt, the calories that you eat are the same as that you burnt, you will remain put. Nothing will change. And of course, as you've seen this seesaw before, if all of a sudden you start burning more than you're eating, guess what? You'll lose weight. If you start eating more than you're burning, you'll put on weight. But what determines the type of fat loss? That is more important. And that's where, dieting alone and restriction of calories isn't the only answer. What you want is to see the scales changing slowly, but when you look in the mirror, your body is recomposing, it's changing shapes. The composition is completely different. Cardio without weights will not increase muscle mass. It will not increase your metabolism. It will not increase your bone density. It will not increase your burn rate. It will not target fat, and it will finish at the end of the cardio session. This is why cardio is such a bad choice if it's your exclusive format for weight loss. Does this make sense? So this idea that you had at the start, which is pounding away doing jogs and sweaty cardio, is wrong. That's a good thing, right? So how do we go about it? Cardio without weights will mean dad bod. This is what's going to happen. And your solution might be that, okay, well, look, I'll just eat less, right? That's a worry. Because if no calories are burned, so if you're not exercising and you're inactive, and then you decide to go on a diet, so you reduce your calorie intake as well. So you think, you know what, I'm just going to diet. I can't have time to exercise. I'm just going to diet. That becomes a slippery slope. Why? Because the body will then say, you're trying to kill me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the level of my metabolism as a protective mechanism. So the rate at which the body just burns calories while it's idling will be reduced. Let me just recap that. I'm not exercising because I don't have time. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go on a diet. I'm going to control it all through my eating. All of a sudden the body says, no. I'm just going to drop the rate at which you burn calories to account for the fact, because I need to protect myself, right? So what is the answer here? We're going to go down this avenue of getting into a gym and starting to lift weights. Lifting weights for the benefits of building a better metabolism and helping you lose weight, not so that you can look awesome at the beach. Of course, that's a byproduct down the line, but lifting weights is about trying to build your metabolism so that your energy is more efficient. So it's something I call gym intimidation, which I'm guessing for a lot of you out there who have never been in a gym before, it's really quite daunting, right? You walk in and there's these dudes grunting and they're and you feel out of your comfort zone. But we can change that. We can change that by giving you the tools. Remember the fear of failure that holds you back, guys? Well, it's that fear of failure that's coming back in. You're worried about going into the gym and being looked at by another person who knows what they're doing and being judged, right? It's a horrendous feeling. We're going to give you the tools to cross that border, to conquer that fear. Here's a start point. I am in love with the gym. I go to the gym every day. I'm a gym goer. Remember we talked about affirmations? Here's a great place to start. I don't have time. I can't spend all week in a gym like you do, Jase. Incorrect. Do you know I spend between 3 and 4 hours total in a gym per week? That's the equivalent of 2% of my week that is spent in a gym. And guess what? I can somewhat eat to my heart's content. I can drink alcohol at the weekend. I can have fun with my food. I don't have to be on a diet. And this is because at now 37 nearly, I've managed to maintain an engine that is working. And if you do the same thing, if you build your muscle mass, we're not trying to talk about turning into Arnie. We're talking about keeping your muscle mass heavy, built, slowly moving forward, at least not going the way of, aging. Guess what? Maintaining your weight and your fat levels is going to be so much easier. 3 to 4 hours a week. Plus, on top of that, you're going to feel stronger. You'll feel your energy surge. You'll have more room to move in your calories. Your confidence is going to shoot through the roof and your mental health will go bang. You know, I really feel for a lot of people who get in the gym and they're armed with the wrong tools. They're just going through the motions and they give up. They're on the precipice of just being able to see the real benefits of lifting weights. So my second secret, guys, to finish that up is that you don't need to do cardio. Cardio is dumb. There are certain benefits for cardio if you're talking about conditioning and respiratory health, of course. But if you're using cardio as your tool to try to change your weight, you're going the wrong way about it. You need to get on board a gym program and just get in and start lifting weights for 3 to 4 hours a week and watch the weight fall off. In fact, at the start, you can get away with doing no cardio. If we pay attention to our diet, our nutrition, and then also get stuck into the gym and get in some sessions, which is going to lead nicely into secret 3, my number 1 food hack. And this is going to be so good because it's going to help you to optimize fat burning without any effort at all. In fact, compared to what you're currently doing now, it's actually going to be simpler, easier, and require less effort. So where do you get that kind of an investment? You put in less effort, but you get greater results. Look, guys, you simply cannot outrun a bad diet. This is the truth. Burning 1,500 calories, which I want to just show you for a 100-kilo man, how long would it take to burn 1,500 calories? And there's a reason I'm choosing 1,500 at the moment. Well, 4 hours walking a dog. 4 hours walking a dog, that's 1,500 calories. Bit of punching, some swimming, boxing a bag, that's 2.5 hours. Touch footy or running at a moderate pace, that's 2 hours. So between 2 and 4 hours of moderate to vigorous exercise is going to burn 1,500 calories. Do you have 4 hours today to take your dog for a walk to burn 1,500 calories? Well, check this out. Consuming a 1,500 calorie meal is this easy. 1 large Big Mac meal. That's the payoff. And that is why it is so difficult to manage your weight without changing your nutrition. Just doing exercise alone, in the same way that you can't do diets without exercise, you also can't outrun a bad diet. It's that simple. Putting food in your gob is just too easy given the payoff that you've got to do to actually burn that amount of fuel off. This is explaining why all diets work for the short term, but creating a calorie deficit is easy. Maintaining it's hard, because restriction of calories on a long-term basis is really not going to help. It's not going to work. But what if there was an easy way? Would you be like this dude here? Hey, come on. With less thought, less cost, and less effort. Give me your hands up, boys. Come on. And what if that way specifically targeted fat loss? Will that make you happy? Beautiful. This is the strategy that I'm going to tell you about now. If you haven't heard of intermittent fasting, this is the hack that got 8 kilos off me here in 10 weeks. And I now, in all of my programs, I give everyone the same advice. You need to start this immediately. So what is fasting? Fasting is a deliberate period of not eating. There's no mention of the food type. It only talks about when to eat, okay? So there are different types of fasting protocols, and I've listed some here. So daily window fasting. So this is when you don't eat for a portion of your day. There's meal skip fasting. The most common one of these is just to skip breakfast. There's alternate day fasting. So doing fasting on one day and then not on the next. And there's 24-hour fasting, a little bit more extreme. And the benefits to fasting are ridiculous. So you might ask, is this just another fad? Well, look, guys, I hesitated in talking about fasting for so long because I was worried about this being taken as a diet. It's not a diet. Fasting is not new. In fact, it's thousands of years old. You think about it. What would determine our food intake when we were cavemen? The availability of food, right? So we would go through lean periods and we'd go through periods where there'd be an abundance of food. That's fasting. Fasting is normal. Having Uber Eats come to your couch is not normal. In fact, fasting is backed by science, both as a weight loss technique and for a myriad of other health benefits. And these include improved cancer risk, improved heart attack risk, improved diabetes risk, and now the science is starting to actually firm up. How fasting works? Well, let me just tell you, when you start fasting, what's actually happening. One, you're consuming less calories. How does that happen? Well, let's say we go with a protocol of breakfast skipping. Intermittent fasting gives you a decreased opportunity to eat. So if you're skipping breakfast or you're doing a window of where you don't eat food, guess what? That reduces, just by subtraction, that reduces the portion of your day where you do eat food. So you create a small calorie deficit by skipping a meal, right? And then by default, that tips the scales in your favor, the favor of calorie burning over calorie consumption. The second way that fasting works is by causing ketosis. Now, don't get this confused about ketogenic diets and any of that garbage. All ketosis basically means is your body's preference for burning fat over other fuels. So what happens is, by the very nature, the act of fasting, you will increase the hormone, human growth hormone, and decrease or lower your insulin level. These hormones play a big role in what determines the fat or fuel that your body uses. So guess what? Your body goes into fat burning mode. So there's a calorie reason, the old calorie balance reason, and there's the fact that your body is now targeting fat burning as its preferred fuel source. That's how fasting works. So let me give you an example of less calories consumed. So if you had 2 slices of toast buttered, that's around 220 calories. This is your breakfast, right? You had 2 fried eggs, maybe, it's 180 calories. You have 1 banana, that's 105 calories, and 1 regular latte, that's 150 calories. So roughly your total calories for your breakfast comes up to being 600 or 700 calories. We don't get bogged down in counting calories in any of my advice, okay? But let's just say, out of your total daily requirement, for most men, they're going to need somewhere between 2,300 to 2,300 to 2,500 calories. You're talking about, by skipping breakfast, omitting around a quarter of your daily calorie consumption. Can you see how that works? So long as you don't then go and hammer the next meal and overeat at the next meal, you've made a really simple change to get calories being burnt in a more productive fashion, right? So the other way that this works is ketosis. Remember, we talked about this as being the hormonal reason. Think about it. The body is really only in one of 3 states, okay? Stick with me here. There's the fed state, which lasts upon eating. So we have a meal, and then for the next 3 to 5 hours, we're in that fed state. The body is digesting the food, and it's basically processing the food, right? And then the next state that happens after that is the next 8 to 12 hours. This is where the body has the ability to burn that fuel that you've effectively given it. The last state, and the important state, is this fasted state. This happens around 12 hours post-meal. So when your body has effectively run out of sugar to burn because you've skipped breakfast. So let's just say we've had our last meal at 8 o'clock the night before, and we've gone all the way around, and we reach 8 o'clock the next day for breakfast. But we skip meal. We go to 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. For those 8 to 12 o'clock hours, your body has only one option, but it's to turn to your fat sources to provide the fuel that it needs to get you through that period. Does this make sense? So I'm going to give you some tips on how to fast. I have implemented this protocol myself personally, and I do it with all my clients. Here's the one I use. It's the most popular method. It's called the intermittent fasting 16-8 method. It's very, very simple. All you do is have your last meal, let's say at around 9 p.m. 9 p.m. at night, right? So it doesn't really matter. Don't get caught. For me, I do it at 6 p.m., right? I have an earlier dinner and then maybe a dessert or a snack afterward. But then from that 6 o'clock moment, all the way around to the following 6 o'clock, I've eaten nothing. But my body has been burning the fuel that I've already given it. From around, let's just say, don't get caught in the details, but 5 or 6 o'clock till 12 o'clock midday, my body now enters that magical fat burning mode. This is where it says, I have to get fuel from somewhere else, so now I'm going to take it from our fat sources. And that's what intermittent fasting does. So there's a couple of ways you can do it, but for me, breakfast skipping is the simplest way to do it. So what to expect when you start skipping breakfast? Well, you can have hunger pains for around a week. And this is because you're going from probably surviving on heavy breakfasts or breakfasts on the run, from particularly with you tradies out there that are commuting, stopping at service stations and grabbing pies and a Coke, for example. And then what will start to happen is those hunger pains will start to disappear. And the simplest way to do it is to have black coffee. Okay, black coffee for me is magical. It's healthy. 3 or 4 black coffees a day gets me through, kills the hunger, and you're gone. Then you start to develop this realization, this awareness, we call it, that we eat because we should eat, as opposed to the fact that we're hungry or not. You see, when you get better attuned to what your body is saying about you, when it's telling you, when you start to listen to what your body is telling you, all of a sudden you're better able to control it. And within 10 days, it becomes easy. It actually becomes more practical. And guess what? All of the guys in my programs just simply report that it was strange. I went from having to think about eating an easy breakfast to all of a sudden just going straight into normal work. I had a couple of black coffees, plenty of water during the day. And guess what? I felt actually amazing. I got hunger pains for the first period, but my body fat started to drop. And as I am filming this right now, you can see that I'm pretty energetic. I'm in fasted mode. I've been fasting for around about what would be 13 hours, 14 hours now, and I've still got a couple of hours ahead of me. I find this such a splendid and simple way to keep my life easy with less effort, less money, and get the results. So there you go, guys. These are the 3 secrets that I've just taken you through. Your fat mind, how to set your autopilot with those affirmations and changing your thinking. The endless cardio is dumb secret number 2. You have to get in a gym and start lifting weights if you want to be a chance of being forever able to control your fat without having to pay too much attention to what you eat. And then on that third one that we just covered, my food hack, number 1, it takes no effort at all to start fasting tomorrow. How good is that? 3 bang, bang, bang ways to get started. And hopefully you feel like this has smashed those beliefs. It's expensive. Well, you know what? It's actually not expensive. It's actually cheaper to fast. I don't have time. Hey, dude, I'm telling you, between 3 and 4 hours a week total exercise in the gym is going to be enough. You have to starve yourself. No, you don't at all. In fact, the cool thing about getting fasting happening is, guess what? You're going to have much more luxury to eat what you want, because those 600, 700, 800 calories that you're currently consuming at breakfast, all of a sudden means you can have those later on in the day. A little bit more wiggle room. I hate cardio. Good. Keep hating cardio. You need to get in a gym and build a bigger engine. And I'm unmotivated. No, you've just got the wrong cybernetic mechanism. You need to change that. You need to change your self-image. Let me ask you a question. I'm guessing this feels like you right now. If you've managed to stick with me without fast forwarding, you feel like a big fat pie has been slapped in your face, right? And that's because there's a lot of intensity, a lot of information that you're trying to process right now. But that's cool. Imagine there was a way for us to be able to, continue this conversation on. And I want to ask you permission to tell you a little bit about how we can do that if you're interested. And if you're not at the point where you're at the must, if you're still at the should, then that's okay. Hear it out. But I do want to ask you permission before going on. I want to tell you a bit about how we can potentially continue this conversation on. Let me ask you a question. Look, would your chance of success, imagine I was sitting here next to you every day, would your chance of success increase if you had me by your side? Do you think? And would having a blueprint, I'm a 37-year-old dude, right? If I gave you my blueprint to follow week by week, would that help you? Do you think that would help you? Because if so, I have a program, and I created a program called Cut the Gut for guys like you, because I saw you were angry. I saw you were confused, and I walk outside and I see so many guys that look miserable and feel terrible and tell me how tired they are. And it's because you don't have the tools. I saw that you wanted simplicity, that there were mental battles, and there were fears that you wanted to conquer. But I've got to tell you, Cut the Gut is not for everyone. Okay, it's not for everyone. And the reason is because this is a program that has been put together and bolted together to help people that really want to change. If you're not that interested in change yet, I can't do anything for you. This program works. It's got a 100% success rate for the guys that follow all the way through. So I was compelled to develop a way that I can spread this to people worldwide. And I'm guessing you've just been thinking, there's got to be a better way. I just feel like I'm on the treadmill here. I'm doing these freaking shake diets and I feel like crap. There's got to be a better way to stop feeling hungry all the time. There's got to be a better way to not have to worry about the advice from this person, this person, this person, this person, this person, this person. Can I just get it simple fashion from one person? There's got to be a way to stop wasting money on diets. Why am I still dieting? I keep dieting, but then they fail anyway. Why am I feeling like shit? There's got to be a better way. And there is. And I call these the Fat Loss 4. Okay? So what I teach in my programs is this very concept. And Cut the Gut is formulated on this very concept. It's based around the fact that most people try to change on the surface level of nutrition and activity. And they're the primary pillars. They're really super important. But the problem is, unless they change their habitual program and their lifestyle, the secondary pillars which lie underneath that, most personal trainers, dietitians don't even pay any attention to that. And that's why change is not lasting. So in Cut the Gut, let me tell you a bit about it. It has 2 components. The first of these components is very important because I want to empower you to achieve this for life, not just for a little period. And the way I do that is to coach you and tell you about how to change your life rather than giving you a diet program to follow. So the video coaching program goes for 12 weeks and I deliver you videos by the week, once per week, which deal with different components. As you can see, it's compatible on a laptop, a tablet. In fact, you can even do the program on your smartphone. How good is that? It's full of videos and downloadable cheat sheet summaries, which after the session, after the education session, if you want to, you can basically take those cheat sheets and give them to your family, read them later on, catch up on them, refresh. Remember, repetition is the mother of all learning. In addition, there's a bunch of supplementary videos from various experts in the field of health. And I put in there to make it interactive, some quizzes and challenges along the way. Okay, so does this make sense? So the video component is a really, really important component. And if you've enjoyed this video, you've got an insight into, I guess, my presentation style. I'm pretty smack bang down the line. Here's how it is. These are the core modules that the video program will cover. So mind control, how to create new habits, how to overhaul your thinking to get the cybernetic mechanism that we've talked about working your way. And we cover that in a lot more detail, much more than I can cover in a 1 hour web call. So nailing your nutrition without dieting. Okay. We're going to talk about resistance training and how to really nail it in the gym. We're going to go into detail about intermittent fasting and fat shredding. We're going to talk about meal prep and how to get your meals right and simple, even if you're not a chef in the kitchen. The motivation myth, how to fire up your motivation, how to build mental strength. We're going to go back to some higher end things like how to navigate shopping centers to get the best food and the right choices. We're going to talk about food labels. Imagine being able to read a food label and properly distill the information on there. We're going to talk about management of stress, how to sleep better. And on our second last week, we're going to talk about how to go out and eat healthy still without killing all the gains that you've made. And then we tie it all together in the last week. So I want to give you a little bit of a sneak peek, which I really do think will help you to understand. So when you log into the course, what you'll see here is a bunch of modules on the left-hand side and greeted with my ugly mug. And you're going to see interactive videos that basically teach you steps along the way. Now, the course, as I said, is slide-based and it has me presenting at the same time. So it's visual. It's not just boring and learning. You can stop it and pause it. You can do it at your own pace. If you have a particularly heavy week, you can slow down and you can catch up with it the next week. But it's all in there, ready and packaged to deliver. How good's that? A course that supplements everything that you're doing in your exercise and your nutrition. What you're going to get. So the video coaching program is valued at $19.97. So that's the total value so far. The second part is the 12-week transformation program. Now, this is awesome, and I'll tell you why. You're going to get a choice between two programs. I call them Construct and Elevate. Now, Construct is for you guys who, at the moment, are very much beginners in the gym. The vast majority of people do Construct. They choose Construct, but you've got the option to choose which one of the two you need to do. Now, the thing about Construct is it works from the basic principle that you are intimidated, remember, gym intimidation, that you are unsure of how to lift correctly, that you're worried about being judged. And I have dealt with everything at a core level to empower you and make sure that when you get in the gym, you feel like you're moving towards a goal in the right fashion. Now, for those of you that are saying, look, I used to play footy or whatever, and I feel great. I feel terrible, but I know how to lift weights. I'm comfortable in a gym. I don't have gym intimidation. Well, then Elevate is for you. Elevate's a little bit more advanced. So what I find people do, they fall into a couple of categories. They've either just started new and they started Construct, and then on a redo, they do Elevate, or they start at Elevate, and then what they do is get to the end of Elevate and then do it again to try to better their results the second time round. So what you'll get is a 12-week program, and then you'll basically hit the week that you're up to on your phone, or you can print it out in the following manner. Now check this out. So this is the way the program's actually set up. So it tells you exactly what to do along the way. So you've got what you'll be training that week. And this is an example of the beginner program. And then you'll have these here, the list of exercises that you'll be doing, exactly how many sets of each one and how many reps of each one. And at this stage, if you have no idea what a rep or a set is, that's all explained in the course. How good is that? So you'll have lifting logs here. The lifting logs are basically where you can record your results. And you can do these basically on your phone or your iPad, Or if you're old school like me, I like to do it on a clipboard because then I can flick back through and check over the next few weeks to see where my lifting was at. Does that make sense? You're going to get the Lifting Essentials videos. So the Lifting Essentials videos are going to take you through everything you need to know. And for example, here, I'm talking about how to set yourself up to make sure that you don't get yourself into a compromising position safety-wise, okay? I'm coaching you here on what are called supersets and how to increase the intensity of the session that you're doing. These are all provided inside the program. So what you're going to get is the video coaching program that's worth $19.97. And on top of that, the 12-week transformation program, which is in itself worth $4.99. So this brings together a total value of $2,496, just short of $2,500. But I'm not going to be charging you guys that because you've come through this program. So let me ask you guys a question. If all this program did, cut the gut, if all it did was let you enjoy eating food again, like, would that be worth it? Have a look at this food, right? I am not a chef. This is whipped up in literally 5 to 7 minutes time. Would that be worth it for you if you just got to eat normal good food again? If all it did was helped you, like Clint here, to cut 10 kilos of fat off his gut that's not squeezing his heart, causing him to die early, would that be worth it for you? What if it just helped you tone up a little bit like Shane? Would that be worth it to you? Would that $2,500 be worth it to you? If all this did was let you keep up with the kids like Kane here, would it be worth it? $2,500 seems like a lot of money, but if you think of it, if you get to be around for your kids and be here for the future with them, being able to run and not look like a poor role model, how much would that be worth to you? If all this did was like it did for James and gave you the ability to live life and do life better, would it be worth it? Check this. The last time, if you said I'd be running 14 kilometers, I would have told you to fuck off. I'm not going to read the rest of it there. But imagine running 14 kilometers in 6 months to a year's time. If all this program did was help you achieve that, would it be worth it? Check this out. He bumped into the admin guy at work and they're annoyed because he's on his 3rd uniform so far for the year because he keeps reducing his weight and feeling better and better and better. Have a look at his first shirt. Compare the difference to when we first started Cut the Gut. It's incredible. Check this out. This is one of our boys, Scotty, an absolute legend of Cut the Gut. What's he got to say?
Yeah, g'day guys. My name's Scott. 40-year-old from Central Coast in New South Wales, Australia. Why did I join Cut the Gut? Well, basically, I was sick of the dad bod, and I want to be a positive role model to my kids. And basically, Jason showed me the way on when you get to the gym, actually knowing what you're doing. Because when I went to the gym previously, I was clueless. So, yeah, it's been quite some time since I started the Cut the Gut thing. Still trying to come to terms with the food side of things, because obviously we all love beers, we all love bad food, so it's just trying to change that. But still going to this day. And guys, if you're thinking about it, don't procrastinate like I did for so many months. Just jump on. Cheers.
Oh, mate. And this is the thing. Scotty is just an absolute dude. This guy, he is a killer, and he's achieving all his results in literally 3 to 4 hours. He's also a copper. So he's actually, working shift work. So he's got the combination of everything going together. It's incredible. Guys, this is for people whose must-dos have become, whose should-dos have become must-dos. This is for people who are frustrated and who've had enough. This is for people that are sick of wasting cash on fads. And guys, it's not for people who want to think about it. If you just want to think about it, this program's not for you. It's not for people who are not coachable, or that think that they know better, or they've read it on the Today Show or 60 Minutes and they think they know better. And it's not for people who don't place any value on their health at all. If Cut the Gut helped you do these things, then for $2,500, that's a deal, right? Well, what we're basically doing is releasing Cut the Gut to the general public. That's not you. We're releasing Cut the Gut to the general public as a relaunch for $14.97. So beyond this coaching program, for the people that haven't come through this coaching program, this is what it's going to cost. However, with today's relaunch for you, here's what's going to happen. You're going to get started in Cut the Gut for just $597. $597. That's less than $50 a week to get started in a program that's going to change your life. I mean, is that worth it? So you've got two options. You can do it as $199 a month for just 3 months. There's no further payments at all. Or you can just go up front for $50 off and you'll only pay $497. How good's that? So I'll give you a bit of a further discount to do it up front. You want to get started, guys? Below this video, right, you will find a link that gives you the two options and you'll go straight to the payment page. You've got two options. You can do nothing and you can feel crappy and you can procrastinate more. There's no risk there, right? You can just continue to do that for as long as you want until you're ready. There's no risk there. Or you can jump in and for less than $50 a week, you can get started. You can click one of those two buttons below, be taken to the payment page, and you'll be enrolled in Cut the Gut within 1 minute. You'll be doing this. You'll be committing to what you said you would. But if my plan for you fails, that really, I don't feel like I deserve the money. Even though it's just 1/5 of what it's worth, I'm not sure that I deserve the money if I can't get you the result. That's why I will pay you. I mean, this should illustrate how passionate I am about this. I will pay you for wasting your time. If you join Cut the Gut today and you complete the program and you get no benefit, I will refund you the entire amount. Plus on top of that, I will give you an additional 10%, which is approximately $50. I'll give it additional to you for wasting your time. How does that sound? So click below if you want to get started. Well, here's what you're going to get. You're going to get the video coaching program for $997. It's total value of $499 for the 12-week transformation program. And together, close to $2,500 for $597. That's ridiculous. Now, on top of that, I've got to understand that old habits die hard. You know, this is going to be difficult for you to get out of your comfort zone. I do understand. That's why I've got Big Bruce here to remind you that old habits die hard. So for the first 50 action takers, for the first 50 of you that enroll in Cut the Gut off the back of this free coaching, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you some bonuses, some free bonuses. Private community, our Facebook community, valued at $497. I'm going to add you to that group. Check out how it works. You basically go on there, you can post all of your videos, you can get a direct line to me, you can ask questions, you can support with other members. This group is interactive and it's built with dudes that are like you, that are like Scotty, that are like James. These are everyday guys that you've heard from that are going to be in that community. In addition to that, I'm going to give you free access to our lifting database. I mean, this alone is worth the cost. I mean, this is fantastic. This is the most developed database on the internet. It's taken me so long to put together. It's worth $399. And here's what happens. When you link into your program, from your program, you will click a link and you'll be taken, because let's just say you don't know how to do a Smith machined shoulder press. Okay, let's say that's in your program. What will happen is you'll be taken to this page here, which gives you an exact description of how that actually works. So you'll basically never feel alone inside a gym again. How good is that? So you'll basically go to the lifting database. It's going to tell you exactly how to lift. It's going to give you a video, a picture, a description. That's bonus 2 is worth $399. So as a third thing, I'm going to chuck in, remember this is for the first 50 action takers. I'm going to give you a copy of Bloke Can Cook, $36 worth of value. It's my ebook, which is a nutrition blueprint. This is for you guys that want an even more greater understanding of how to control your health through nutrition. In fact, It's got a ton of parts, but it finishes off with some 50 recipes that I use currently that I've put together, given you for free in this program for the first 50 action takers. So here's what you're going to get. You're going to get the video coaching program. It's $19.97. On top of that, you're going to get the 12-week transformation program for $4.99, the bonus Facebook group for $4.97. You're going to get the free lifting database included. This is the first 50 action takers. Bloke can cook as well. So you're getting close to $3,500 worth of value. Like, this is ridiculous. For $597, or even cheaper if you want to do it up front instead of the 3 monthly payments. Just click the buttons below, and that's how we get started on it, guys. Remember, there is absolutely zero risk. If you join today and you complete the program, I will give you all of that money back plus an additional 10% for wasting your time. Remember, Josh, this is Josh.
Hey guys, just want to make this quick video about Cut the Gut and why it's changed my life. For more reasons than one. Mentally, physically, I wake up every morning a happier person. I look forward to coming home from work and going to the gym. It's, you know, the first step is to just commit to it. I know when I first started going to the gym, I was so self-conscious about it. So I went late at night. Now, once I got into it, headphones on, doesn't even faze me. I go straight after work. People are there. Doesn't even bother me. I just want to tell everyone how easy it is to do this program. I'm on my second program now. That's how much this Cut the Gut works. It's such an eye-opening experience, and I just want everyone to get on board and get involved with this, because it changes your life so much. And I'm one of the most positive people right now. It's insane. And everyone asks me, how are you so positive? Like, you're doing so well. It's because of Cut the Gut. And I can't put it down to anything other than that. It's Cut the Gut. So guys, get amongst it.
Thanks, Josh. And as you can see, our guys hate being on videos. These are everyday guys that are just like, oh, I don't know about doing this, but they love it. And so they're so endorsed in the product that they want to get behind it. So here's what will happen. If you click one of those buttons below, guys, you'll be taken to the checkout page, and all you need to do is pop your card numbers in there, press purchase. You'll get it all delivered to your email address, and you'll be ready to go in Cut the Gut within literally 1 minute. How good's that? So basically what I'm going to do now is just recap. So you've got your video coaching program, your 12-week transformation program, your bonus Facebook group, your free lifting database, plus on top of that, Bloke Can Cook. So a total of $3,428 worth of value you're going to get for $597 or less, $50, if you decide to do the upfront option. So I'm going to spend a bit more time now, guys, basically going through some questions. Just ignore this website address here, guys. It's actually wrong. So going through these questions. So let's have a look at them. Here come the most common questions. Do I need to have a gym membership? Yes, you do need a gym membership. Look, you can do a lot of this stuff at home, but the problem with doing it at home is that you're not investing time to actually go with, you're not dedicating specific focused time to actually putting in the hours. If you do it at home, and I did this for a while myself, I just felt like I could kind of cruise. I didn't have to shut off my work day and then go and smash it in a gym. Like the two were disconnected. Does that make sense? So you do definitely need a gym. And I definitely think that, you can't get the same effect doing things like F45. That's not a gym. I'm talking a gym which you can walk into, pay $15, $20 a week, and you're good to go. Okay. Will I need to buy supplements? Absolutely not. You do not need supplements. Look, and I teach this inside Cut the Gut. It's the most misunderstood thing in the industry. You don't need supplements to get results. And we talk a bit more about that. I can't cover it all here, but no, short answer is you don't need supplements to get results in the program. All right, can I pay monthly? Yeah, absolutely. So you definitely can pay monthly. And what will happen is that you'll just choose the button below, which says monthly option there, and you'll basically break it down. So what will happen is you'll do the first month, the second month, the third month, and then it'll all be finished. There'll be nothing further. And you can even stay in the Facebook group if you're one of those first 50 action takers. Do I need to start the program immediately? No, you don't actually need to start the program immediately. So if you want to, you can just basically join up, get it done, become one of those first 50 action takers, get it while it's cheap. And then if you need a week or two to get some stuff sorted, you can definitely do that. So the program's not going to disappear. You'll have lifetime access, and you basically can do it in your own time. But you, of course, get to take advantage of being able to get it at this price. So are you available for live coaching if I need help? Well, yes, in short, I am. As long as you can, give me a day or two to get back to it. Guys, I have to tell you, my job here is to be your coach for life. I only want to see you benefit, right? This $597 almost doesn't. It's not going to change my life at all. It's not going to change my finances. This is about you. This is about you and you only. You making change. You need to see a change in your life. I am good with the direction I'm going. So am I available? Absolutely, I'm sure. I'm committed. The best way to do that is to drop me a message through Facebook and say, can we schedule a chat? Or ask a direct question if you feel that it's something that could be easy enough to answer via a chat. Don't forget, guys, if you want to get involved, you just need to hit one of those two buttons below and you'll be taken to the payment page and you'll be getting started within a minute. How good would that be? So what if I'm experienced in a gym already? Great question. Okay, so remember we talked about once you're inside Cut the Gut. For the actual training component, the transformation program, you've got two options, okay? You can either go for the beginner option, which is called Construct, or you can go through the experienced option, which is called Elevate. Both of them are great programs, but Elevate is targeted to the person that's already been in the gym before. So if you absolutely are sure that you're comfortable with particularly lifting free weights, then you're going to be completely fine. Get onto the Elevate program. And if you want to, you can start with the beginner program. And then if you feel that, you know what, I'm confident, I'm good, I can get over to the Elevate program, you can do that change mid-fashion if you want. You don't have to wait till the start. So get on there, guys. Get one of those buttons into you below. Let's get clicking. So how will I know if I'm in the first 50? Well, that's a bloody good question. So what will happen is inside your program, you'll have links to be able to add into the exercise database. So the links in your program will actually work. You'll have the option of adding into the Facebook community group, which is your other free bonus here. And you'll find Bloke Can Cook will actually be downloadable inside your program if you're one of those first 50 action takers, guys. So we're going to blow this up, and I'm really looking forward to working with you directly. So if you want to, like I said, just hit one of those buttons down below and let's get started. So questions, what if I have to go away for a week or two soon? Not an issue at all. Of course, you can go away for a week. In fact, let's just say that was next week or the week after. I'd probably get the program sorted now while you're getting an awesome price in the program. Then what you could possibly do is start in 2 or 3 weeks' time and then get involved so you're undistracted. But alternatively, if you don't go away for 5 or 6 weeks, I definitely feel that you would be better to commence the program immediately. Do the 5 or 6 weeks, push pause on your program, okay, if you're unable to still do it while you're on holidays, and then just kick on after that. Just get back into it. That's the whole thing. You just rip back into it straight after that. There's no reason to stop. All right. Do I need to give up alcohol or certain foods? What a great question. So just remember, guys, look, it's no one thing that it's causing your problems, right? Unless I guess you're an alcoholic. So will it, let's rephrase that question. Will it help to give up alcohol? Yes, it would. Do you need to? No, you don't. You can very much do this transformation without giving up alcohol. So for me, I reduce my alcohol consumption. The only time I drink alcohol is at the weekend, and I won't drink both days. I'll generally drink one of the 2 days, okay? Because for me, it's about, do I want to have all those calories? Do I really need all those calories? And am I really getting enjoyment out of getting pissed? Sure, occasionally, yes, but when it becomes every weekend, no. Do you need to give it up? No, you don't. Do you need to reduce it? Well, it's suggestible. It's going to be up to you guys. Or do I need to give up certain foods? No, you don't need to give up certain foods at all. In fact, quite the opposite. What will happen is when you do the education part, component 1 of this program, the video coaching course, what's going to happen is you're going to start to have some awareness of what foods are good and what foods are contributing to your health and what foods aren't. And naturally, you will probably just shed those foods, as it were, anyway. You'll start to get rid of them and just think, you know what, they're not adding anything to my life. You'll have the occasional pleasure, but that's it. No, you don't need to give up foods. What if I can't afford the $5.97 now? Well, okay, great question. So, look, it's not my responsibility to know your finances or even to talk to you about guidance of finances. But what I think is really important is going back to the question. Is it that you don't have the $5.97 now, or is it that you don't see the value in it, or is it that you don't want to spend it because you've got other things you're spending it on? What I'd ask you to think about, guys, is the payoff, okay? Think about the payoff of that $5.97. Remember, we went back to all those slides about what if I could just achieve fat loss of 5 to 10 kilos? How would that make me feel? Imagine you could see your dick again. What if I could get in the gym and feel comfortable? What if I had more energy? What if I had more libido, which is something that men don't talk about very often? What if I could run around with my kids for the first time in years and years and years? What if I could do life better, start bloody going on hikes, seeing things that I can't currently see because I feel so unfit and crappy? Would that be worth it to you? You need to balance, with any financial decision, you need to balance off what you are getting. And I don't mean a program. I mean, what are you getting in the outcome? How are you feeling as a result of it versus what are you spending? And I would say that for $597, that's an absolute no-brainer, an absolute no-brainer. Are you going to get more than $597 worth of value back being able to hang out with your kids more often? Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Can my partner do the program with me? Yeah, great question. 100% your partner can do the program with you. So he or she can enroll in the program. Look, it's a bit of a strange one because we don't allow women to join the program. But of course, if you pass it over to her and she gets in there in the gym with you, then that's absolutely fine, of course. Now, the reason that we don't allow women is nothing against women, but what I've found is by keeping a tight-knit community of guys, this really helps to keep the networking going, to keep it I don't want it to be a boys' club, but I think we as men deal with things very differently than women deal with things. We like the straight up, tell me what's going to work, tell me how it goes, and that's why I prefer to keep it as a group as such. So get on down below, guys. Hit one of those 2 buttons. The time's ticking out, and you know what, guys? You could already be setting yourself up for, I guess, success tomorrow by implementing these strategies. You just need to get started, guys. Get through that. You know, that kind of broken procrastination loop that keeps haunting you. It's time to get outside of your comfort zone. Will I have immediate access to the program? Yes, absolutely you will. So what will happen, the moment you get one of those 2 buttons below, you'll be taken to the payment page, and the payment page will basically process your card. And then what will happen is within a couple of minutes, you'll get a delivery of information, which includes your login info, and the access portal. So the URL that you'll always come back to do the training program, okay? So it'll be there ready for you to go, so you can cut the gut, you'll get immediate access, you're ready to rock and roll, you've saved yourself, you know, some ridiculous amount of money, quite close to $3,000 by getting started immediately, and you're gonna have immediate access, yeah. What if I need to get a refund? Very, very simple. All you need to do is just show me that you've completed the sessions. I can see from the back end what you've completed. And of course, you've completed the gym sessions. If you've got no benefit, I'm going to give you all of your money back. Plus on top of that, I'm going to pay you money for wasting your time. That's how confident that I am this program is going to absolutely change your life. And that's why I've put so much time into the program to make sure it's comprehensive, it's ready to roll, it develops specifically for you guys, for men, not some kind of, batch together program that has no thought put into it. This is the time to get involved now. All right. What do I need? Do I need to be good with technology? In short, no, you don't need to be good with technology. It's very, very simple. I mean, once you've downloaded the program, it's as easy as you can do it on your phone. How good's that? So you go to your phone, you download it, you download your program, you can print it out. You don't even have to use the electronic version if you want. You can do it on a clipboard, which is actually what I like to do, because then I can flick back over my results. So do you need to be good with technology? No. You need to know how to use a phone or a tablet or a laptop in a very basic sense. Turn it on, go to a website, but you don't need to be technological based at all. So there we go, guys. Hopefully that has really given you a bunch of value, a bunch of information, and thanks for sticking with me right till the end of this program. So what you can do is you've just got to click one of those buttons below, and what's going to happen is you're going to be taking that payment page, right? And then you're going to feel like, that old kind of procrastination loop coming back. You're going to be thinking fear of failure. You're going to be thinking, am I sure I'm going to want to, proceed with this? Am I going to use it? And all these questions are going to start to come out. And the reason that they're coming out is because that's your cybernetic mechanism kicking in. Your cybernetic mechanism is trying to take you back to where you always end up when you start something, right? You've got to punch through. It's called punching through the fear barrier, the terror barrier. You've got to get through that terror barrier so that you can actually get onto the next stage of your life where you start feeling awesome. Guys, hit one of the buttons below, for God's sake. If you're still watching this program, this is your chance to change your life. So, there's a million different choices out there. I do understand, but this is going to give it to you in the most simplistic fashion, right? You know me. We've worked together before. You've seen my stuff before. I'm about giving you what works. I'm about giving you the direct information. I'm about giving you as much as I can possibly give you in the shortest period of time to get the result. I'm about empowering you. I'm not about giving you a diet and saying, follow this, because when the diet's finished, guess what? You're going to be flat out. You're not going to know. You're not going to have any tools to keep this on lifelong. So the idea of doing this program is that you become empowered. And you have the tools now to be able to change your life and change that of the people around you as well. So there we go, guys. There's our time finished up. And I really, really want to thank you for the time that you've given me. And guys, be an action taker. Become one of those first 50 that gets down and hits one of those bottom buttons and get started in Cut the Gut. Now is your chance to change your life. I look forward to seeing you the next time we work together, and we will chat again soon. Love you all and see you soon.